Myth. In fact, I've seen more people hurt themselves because folks often forget that same way you've got deficiencies of vitamins. There's actually hypervitaminosis, which is where you've got too much of a vitamin, and you can actually suffer side effects and symptoms from that too. Myth, and that's actually an important point to clarify, albeit we're moving away from our flu season, but it's still highly recommended because what people feel and often describe as the flu shot giving you flu is more like the flu-like symptoms, and it's more so the shot priming your immune system so that you're ready for the infection if you get exposed to it. So that priming of your immune system, which is essentially helping your immune system learn what the flu looks like, can come with symptoms like some achiness and a little bit of a slight fever, but it's never truly the flu, like the couple days of rigors and achiness and headaches and just feeling like crap. So that's why that's an important one to clarify. Myth. Myth. Now that is worth clarifying also, because 90-some% of cold is viral, right? And this is a conversation that my primary care docs and a lot of us in the community, these are conversations we have with folks, that because we know that 90% of cold-like symptoms are viral, antibiotics will do nothing for you. In fact, we might harm you by exposing you to the potential side effects of an antibiotic. So really, the way to go about that is nutrition, hydration, rest, and let your wonderful immune system do what it was designed to do. This one's a good one. This has actually been studied, and I forget the authors of the study, but basically they did it was a control to it where they had someone, the same person, right, crack only one knuckle for about something like a decade or so, right, and at the end of that time frame, X-rays were done to see if there's any signs of arthritis in the hand that was cracked compared to the other one, and there was no difference. So cracking your knuckles would not give you arthritis. Yeah, this is also myth. There's no the way our bodies work, we're all unique, and our brain has this thermostat that helps regulate how much fluid we need. Now, generally, we all need to hydrate better, but the idea of putting a set goal to it is what I often struggle with. And I think the better way to really get a gauge for hydration status is in the data, right? And when I say the data, what I mean by that is what your body's telling you, right? So your thirst level is one, and then the other one is what's coming out of us, our urine, what your urine looks like, right? So I often have conversations with a lot of the wonderful folks I serve at the Cherry Hill Free Clinic that if you don't want your urine concentrated, you don't want the dark amber urine, right? You want a nice light yellow. You want to make sure you're not thirsty. And so however much fluid you have to drink to make sure those things are in place is the right amount for you, as opposed to a set goal for saying this is the set goal for everybody. Myth also. This has actually also been studied where the color or the texture of your sputum doesn't necessarily equate to the source organism for the infection. So viral infections can be thick, can be green, can be Now there are times when there could be paying attention to the change in the sputum could be helpful, but it still doesn't mean as a blanket statement that green mucus means it's bacterial. But if you go from clear mucus to green mucus, it could be helpful to your primary care doctor. Myth also. I'm a big, one of my big messages is that eating healthy and exercising, that's the key thing, right? And the eating healthy part, there's the average American diet has enough nutrients in it. In fact, we've got more nutrients that we need that our body knows to just get rid of the extra stuff we don't need. So the thought of going to go supplement what's already in abundance in the foods we eat is just a waste. If anything, what I've seen is people actually harm themselves from supplementing with vitamins. Now there's exceptions to that, right? So postmenopausal women, where we know that there's a need to help the body with the need for calcium and vitamin D. That's a need that's been studied. But for the average person to just go, no, I just need to take, this gamut of vitamins. If it's not been proven to be low, there's no need to take it. And even if it's low, I would much rather you try to replace that with food than supplements. Oh, that's another one that's more of that one's in between. And the reason I say that is that there is a benefit to fiber, right? And one of the reasons fruits and vegetables and fiber are great for us is that it helps move things along. The transit time from our mouth all the way out is a lot shorter. And so that's a cleanse of sorts, right? Which you could surmise that detoxes do. But I struggle with the idea that you need a detox to reset the gut. If you eat enough fiber, the right amount of fiber, that will happen naturally, and there shouldn't be the need to put yourself through a colonoscopy prep just to reset your gut. So probably more myth, I would say. Yeah. That is not true. That is not true as a blanket statement. I think there's a healthy diet is a good combination of carbs, proteins, and the necessary vitamins that our bodies need. So that blanket statement that all carbs are evil, not true. That that is naturally what happens when you have a fever. Yes, there's a sweat that happens with it. The caution against that, though, is that there's times when the fever itself becomes harmful to you, right? Where we actually, if there's not a contraindication, we want you to actually treat the fever with Tylenol, Motrin, getting rest, and hydrating, right? Because there are times when a person can have a seizure from the fevers being too high, or a person could could do some harm to internal organs from the fever itself. So no, I don't think it's a good idea to go, I have a fever, I'm just gonna hold out and sweat it out. I don't think that's a good idea.